Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and we got to get started right away. Brand new ship, the Argo raft. What do I think about this ship? It's very much in keeping with the standard Argo design. When I saw those cargo containers hanging underneath it, I went, because I saw a picture of it first. I went, oh, that's got to be like the medium or light base builder. That's got to be what that ship is. When I found out it was another cargo ship, I have to say that I frankly I was a little disappointed in that choice. I felt like there's other areas that certainly a ship would be justifiable in, or a variant of an existing ship would be justifiable, but as another cargo hauler, I feel that, I don't know, for me, it doesn't really kind of, it doesn't feel right as a ship. I guess would be the best way to put it. This ship visually looks to me like one of the background ships that you would normally see in a video game. One of the, like one of the little worker bees or something that's flying around the Enterprise and space dock, hauling cargo around, one of those things. Not really something that you're meant to fly, just something to kind of spice up and add immersion to the scene. And so seeing the ship as kind of like, here you go, here's another cargo ship, it feels weird to me. It feels like something that doesn't necessarily, I'm not to say that it doesn't belong in the game, but something that almost feels like it doesn't belong in players' hands. Now, once again, when I saw these cargo boxes, I was like, oh, maybe these are like, just placeholders, and that's where you can deploy base components from. That would be cool. And we've talked about a medium to a light, or a medium specifically, a base builder in the past. And so I kind of felt that this is where it was going. So I have to admit that there's a certain part of me that, when I look at this and I look at how I feel about it, is some of that tainted by the disappointment that it isn't the medium base builder? Possibly. But the more and more I saw these shots of it, and later on we'll show the one picture that I yanked before I started recording this video of it flying over Lorville, and it really did look like a cargo area runabout and not really like a spaceship itself. And I don't know, for me, that's kind of what threw me about this ship. And so I don't know. It just, for me, it just doesn't feel the way a spaceship should. And once again, this is entirely subjective, because notice I'm not talking about weapons, does it have VTOL, what is the cockpit view like? The cockpit view is actually quite excellent. And it's something that CIG is very slowly kind of picking up on, is how important, when you have 6 degrees of freedom in a game, that you can see in many of those directions when you're flying the ship. And so there's a lot of like positive steps here, a lot of good ideas. But at the same time, I have to admit that there is a certain amount of disappointment that it's yet another cargo ship, where I don't really feel that it's entirely justified. But, the CIG has started to do a lot better job building their interiors and building their spaces, so it definitely looks like a spaceship. It's just, I don't know. There's something about the Argo style that makes it kind of like one of these worker ships and not really, I don't know, like a spaceship. You know what I mean? And the clear glass doors on the bathroom, not a good idea. But while there's something about it that just doesn't quite feel right to me for Star Citizen, there's nothing I can point at and say this ship is bad because of this, or this ship is a bad way to spend your money because of that. It's a well-placed LTI token, I believe at 110 currently. So if you later on in the sale, if you want to take this and then upgrade it into something really cool, you can. And so, I mean, overall, it's okay, but yeah, I mean, this is the picture I was talking about. You see it flying over the cargo area, and it looks like it would be the runabout, like go pick up cargo container, EV4 from section 3B and drop it to, pre-departure area 7. That's kind of like the job that you would see the ship fulfilling. If it was this plus in the future, you're going to be able to use those hooks and the tractor beam to drop small base components when we add that feature into the game. If it included that, I think I'd be a lot more enthusiastic about the ship than I currently am. And at the same time, I feel that, reading through the Q&A, they're like, no, you can't take a vehicle in it. And it's like, okay. No, you can't do these other things in it. And when people were asking, is it kind of a long range ship? And they're like, well, it's got room for food and stuff like that. And I was like, well, that doesn't really answer the fuel question. So we'll have to wait and see with some of these things. Obviously, there are certain things that CIG can fudge. Say, oh, it's got extra fuel tanks in this section or that section. And so it could be a long range ship. To me, when I look at it, it just looks short range. Like this would be something that maybe the longest range mission it would do would be traveling from, let's say, Lorville to Erebus with the cargo containers and just ferrying them back and forth. So, yeah, it's cool looking. It's artistically, it's always so well done. Just looking at the art for art's sake, it's always so well done from CIG, and there's nothing functional about it that I would call out immediately and say, not a great ship. But at the same time, I feel that it's a ship that just kind of doesn't have a personality. You know what I mean? When you look at a Constellation, when you look at a Corsair, when you look at, so many of the ships, when you look at a Cutlass, when you look at a Star Runner, the ship has a certain personality to it. Whereas this, it doesn't. In a world of fancy kitchen knives, this feels like a rusty wrench or something like that. You know what I mean? I'm very conflicted with this design. I just feel that it's in an area where there really doesn't need to be anything else. Whereas there are other applications for a variant of this or this itself that would be much more suitable to the game. I mean, this could even be a refining ship that goes out with the mole, and instead of cargo containers, you could have like a processing center or processing equipment kind of hooked in at the bottom of the ship, and you could follow the mole around and tractor beam ore out of the mole or pick up ore that the mole has dropped and then process it and make it kind of like a tandem mining operation. That would be really interesting. But as a cargo ship, yeah, I don't know. It kind of feels like a bit of a letdown.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.